Welcome to the American Made and Paid Show, the home of free speech and independent thought.
The big story is freedom of speech is really in trouble. The far left knows that at any time they can call for a sponsor boycott of anyone they despise.
It is right here, right now, where you'll get your weekly dose of unfiltered truth.
It's non-negotiable. Pre-existing conditions will be protected. This president has said this as a candidate.
Insight.
Very few people I know could have handled it. We can never, ever let this happen to another president again.
And information that challenges the American way of life.
Welcome, everybody, to the American Made and Paid Show. Zach here, back with Professor Dreg. Hope you guys are all having a fantastic week. I just want to let you guys know that I recently turned 25. Which means I'm starting to feel that quarter-life crisis coming on. I think I'm going to go out and get myself a motorcycle. Or perhaps maybe a... Or should I just should I just go get a motorcycle? Or, buy myself a new pair of shoes or socks or something? I don't know. And I'm not going to do any of that. But it puts things in a perspective, because my birthday always seems to fall near the end of the year, near the holidays. So I'm just like, it doubles also as a reflection period. Just a real quick update for all of you folks. If you guys haven't left us an iTunes review, please be sure to do that. There's been a lot of presidential candidate craziness. But I thought in today's episode, we dive into my co-host's history as to a little bit of the nature of his work. Now, his partner is a sort of a well-known attorney that we won't mention her name. We'll just call her the counselor. We always have since episode 1. And there was this recent article. If you guys want to look this up, there was a killing that actually happened up in Henderson, Nevada, of a mother that was suspected of stabbing her own boy. And this is a case that you guys are taking on. You want to elaborate more on it, and we can talk a little bit more about the legal ramifications and whatnot.
Yeah. So, and basically, we'll get into how we got this case, and it's still not for sure that we're gonna do it, but I'm really leaning towards accepting this case.
Well, it's in Henderson, Nevada, right?
Yeah.
So how does that work?
Well, okay. So technically, yeah, and actually, that's a good question. Basically, because a lot of people don't know this, but it's amazing. I'm thinking, because technically the counselor is not licensed to practice in.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, she's in California.
So she's a California attorney, but here's how it works. She could work, she can get a temporary license to practice in Nevada just for one specific case. If another attorney will, quote unquote, let her use their license.
Okay.
And
wait, is that legal?
Yeah. That's how it's done. She usually does that for New York cases because, not to, because I don't want to sound like we're only concerned with forget about the flyover country. You know what I mean? It's all about the East Coast and the West Coast, like New York, Miami. LA.
Oh, got it. Okay, well, let's go back and talk a little bit more about this case. What's the nature of it?
Okay, so here's the thing, and here's why they gave us a call, because people know that the counselor is one of the few people that honestly know how to take the government to trial. Not just because a lot of people, when their family gets killed by police, this is really sad. But it's sad to say this, but it's the truth. Everybody's rejoicing because they think big payday. You know what I mean? Because when a cop kills somebody, usually
somebody's gonna get paid a lot of money.
Yeah, and come on. You know what I mean? That's not. I get it. I know a lot of families are grieving or whatever. But this one case, and usually in Oakland, that's what they're not protesting about anything. They're protesting so they can get bigger paychecks. And that's, and I hate to paint that broad brush, but people don't understand police brutality. They see it as a way of making money.
Okay, so let me kind of look at this a little bit more so here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because it says that what apparently happened here was that in Henderson, Nevada, which is close to Vegas, for those of you who are unfamiliar with that town, I actually used to go up to Vegas a lot. One of its officers apparently shot and killed a mom that was involved in a violent domestic incident earlier this week. And apparently they found an agitated woman, and they found her 7-year-old son with multiple stab wounds. And what ended up happening was the boy was taken to a hospital, underwent surgery, didn't know what happened here, but apparently the police shot the mother. Is that correct? Or are my details unclear? Because there's not a lot of info on this.
Well, I mean, because as of right now, I don't have all the details, but
the mom was killed in the process, right?
Yeah, that was true. She was shot in the head. So, but the thing is this, was she, and we actually spoke about this, like the reason why I wanted to bring up this case is because it really does tie into what we were talking about yesterday, which is about dads. You know, we touched a lot about dads, single dads, and remember how like in Texas, how the father lost.
Right.
And that now his son is going to be turned into some weird Caitlyn Jenner broad. So in this case, the father actually has custodial rights. So the custodial parent, the son lives with him, but they go back and forth. Again, because the single dad is no better than a single mom. So the single mom literally suffers from real mental illness.
Are you talking about this mom that was killed? Or are you talking about yesterday?
Yeah, the mom that is killed now. So in this case,
okay, we have to make that distinguishment, because sometimes people following aren't.
Yeah. Okay. So like, forget about Texas. We were just talking about Texas, but in Nevada today, this woman suffers from mental illness. So because she suffers from mental illness, you hate to say things like this. You really have to really be careful about what they can and cannot do. So my approach would be this. And this, I honestly believe this. I honestly believe instead of focusing on, we focus on the cop who killed the mother, but we also have to focus on the state of Nevada, Department of Mental Health. Because, come on, who allows a person with these severe types of mental illness
to parent a child?
Yeah.
Well, because she's the mom. I mean, it's usually, we talked about the prejudice when it comes to who is deemed an adequate caregiver, usually in the marriage and family court system, and it always usually goes to the mother. Most likely than not. You're more likely to find single moms than single fathers, at least for fathers who actively fight for custody of their children. Yeah,
well, see, because the thing is like this. What I find disturbing about this case is beyond like the allegations of the mom stabbing the kid, because that actually there is no evidence of that.
There's no evidence of that yet, and she got shot in the head. So
yeah,
the boy is in the hospital right now.
Well, but then he might not even be in the hospital at all, according to the family. So like so that like the whole thing is. But then again, like I was. But then okay, Jesus, I don't know if I should disclose this, but one of the family members is an actually police officer. So you know what I mean? So I have to, and technically, without giving too much information out, this is a highly decorated officer. And you know what I mean? So, and this officer is very well known. So I'm going based on what this person is saying as a witness, stating that the kid is safe, never was stabbed, but the husband might have been stabbed. You know what I mean? But she didn't tell me outright, because she said it has no.
Okay, so what does this have to do with the cops then? Like if the
we'll see, but and we spoke about this many times about police officers being undereducated and too young to handle this type of responsibility. Because like now that you're 25, you know, since you turned 25, seriously, like I honestly believe you can be a police officer. I mean, you hate to say things like this, but most people your age, they don't know jack. They really don't. And that's why I'm really impressed with you, because you would be the exception to the rule of young people having wisdom. You know, it's not every day a 24-year-old kid can teach an old man like me something. You know what I mean? But it's the truth. It's like the type of wisdom you possess is very rare. Mm-hmm. And we can't make people like you the standard for all 25-year-olds. It's just not realistic. So people your age, I'm not, because I know a lot of people are young, but it's just a reality.
Right.
Young people should not be judges. And that's what police officers are. And in this case, this cop who has a history of, I mean, he shot his girlfriend's husband.
Okay, so he has a history of acting impulsively with a firearm. Shouldn't be going around answering dangerous situations.
Yeah, well, forget about that. Think about this. He was having an affair with the married woman, and she shot the husband out of jealousy.
Oh, okay.
And you know what I mean? But that's something young people do. Young people make mistakes like that. Mm-hmm. Not like,
again, old people do that too, but you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, but that's my point. When they're young, they don't know that it's wrong. They feel justified. But when you get older and you're still doing that crappy crap that they do, having affairs and sex out of wedlock, whatever, at least when you get older, you feel some sort of remorse.
Well, that's the hope, unless you're a psychopath. But
yeah. No, but I honestly used to think I was a psychopath. Seriously. Yeah, I always thought that. I was like, fuck, I'm a psychopath. You know, I honestly thought it, but it wasn't because I didn't know Jesus. Seriously.
Yeah.
So, but now that I know, it's like, fuck, I'm not a psychopath. I was just an atheist. You know what I mean? So in theory, by nature, atheists tend to be psychopaths. Because they're atheists, and that's just what atheists. But anyways, I don't want.
Yeah, I know, because we're gonna. We have a tendency to get, but so let's talk about the cops, because I feel like every month or so we got to talk about cops. You know?
Yeah, well, because this is huge. I don't even think this has had national media yet.
It's funny how we talked about the Texas thing yesterday, and now it's all over the internet. And then
really,
it was already kind of all over, but I feel like there's always a coincidental timing thing. Wherever we talk about something, it's like, oh, now it's on CNN. Like, anyways, let's go back to the cop. I'm sorry, we have a tendency. Well,
we have different perspectives, that's for sure. So anyway, so this police officer, I honestly believe is a sociopath. It's just not a psychopath, but a sociopath, because he knows right from wrong. But come on, you know what I mean? He shot somebody back in 2010. The lover, his lover's husband. So, you know, so you have to question his rationale. And we spoke about this before, how we spoke about exigent circumstances. When is it okay for a police officer to violate your constitutional rights that may lead up to your death? And you know, so there's four main reasons. One, so the cop can protect himself. Two, if he's preserving evidence. So if a cop is doing some investigations and you're destroying evidence, he has the right to shoot you. Mm-hmm. He just does. Three, if you're running away. If you're running away, a cop has the right to shoot you, to stop you from running, so that he can arrest you and bring you to justice.
Right.
And if you die, but the fourth way, and it matters to this case, is are there hostages or somebody else is in danger? So the police officer was responding to a domestic violence call. And if in domestic violence calls, you always got to assume the police officer has the right to assume that other people are in danger.
Right.
So because that has been established, these cases are extremely hard to prosecute on the civil side, and the district attorney will not prosecute. I already know. I told him that yesterday. I was like, they're not going to prosecute.
It's also because there's a lack of witnesses. Is that true as well?
Well, I mean, no. I mean, it's not that there's a lack of witnesses. It's they got a call stating and it's on the news. The mother was suspected of stabbing the boy. You know what I mean? So that's the narrative. So the narrative is already painted against a mentally ill mother. And I don't see in the article that they noted that she was mentally ill. But that's really important, because here's the thing. And I really want to get into this because I believe this is something that is, well, I don't want to say it. I'll retract. No, I'm going to say it anyway. I believe that Christians have a special responsibility to the mentally ill and the developmentally disabled.
That's what churches were for.
Yeah, no, I honestly believe that. And because of this, I honestly believe this case is another example of how Christianity is attacked. So I'm going to get into this. So, and I'll explain it in I'm hoping clear detail. So this police officer, it will not be prosecuted by the district attorney because he has every legal right to shoot this woman.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the problem. When this person used lethal force, what did he do? Did he just kick down the door, looked around, saw the woman, decided it was her because she's yelling and screaming, and shot her? Or did he do anything to even look? Like, did he do any type of investigation, any search of the house to say, hey, look, we need to search your property, we need to search your house as a welfare check to make sure that there's nobody dying in here? You know what I mean? Or did he just go in guns blazing, he saw some yelling person and just shot the mom in the head? Because that's, you know how hard it is to shoot somebody in the head? So this guy is a good shot. And so anyway, and based on her being shot in the head, I seriously doubt he talked to her, just like as a normal human being. Like when a cop goes in there on a domestic violence call, you explain to the person, hey, look, I'm here to do this and that, this and that. Mm-hmm. And it seems like he didn't do that. He didn't do that, because if he spoke to her and she's yapping like a lot of women do, like they get all emotional and get all crazy, because I don't want to diminish the threat. This woman poses the threat. Crazy women who are mentally ill pose a real threat to society. Mm-hmm. You know,
but it doesn't mean that she should have been shot.
Well, no, but that's why this is where the Christians need to step in, because it's only through Christ and the blueprint of Christianity can we help these mentally ill people. It's just how it works. So, and this is the problem with when everybody thinks carnally. This cop is just riddled with carnal thoughts and actions. So instead of talking to her, making an assessment, he opted to kill her. So what he should have done, or I don't know if he did it, but we're going to find out. We're going to investigate, talk to this cop, and I'm going to ask him point blank, did you speak to her? And when you spoke to her, did it ever cross your mind to call the fire department? Mm-hmm. Because you have no, but think about it.
You know, you're right. I'm putting the
He has every right to 5150 this woman. But 5150 means it means the police officer on duty is making a rational decision based on his experiences and his lack of education. Because it's a lot of power to give to somebody with no education, but they have the right, if they think somebody's acting crazy and doesn't understand what that officer's saying with instructions or anything else, he has the right to take away her liberty for 72 hours. So if 5150 is the code they use to take away someone's rights, liberty, and imprison that person for 72 hours, so professionals can make an assessment to see how crazy this person is. And he didn't do that. I know he didn't do it because...
Well, what justifies shooting somebody in the head, right?
Well, but let's say he shot somebody in the head. I mean, it was justified. But I know and I hate, because a lot of listeners are like, oh yeah, but you're making assumptions. I was like, well, I'm making reasonable assumptions based on decades of experience. And I'm considered to be one of the best in behavioral function analysis in the country, if not the best. And I'll tell you how I won these underground contests. Because I'm telling you, like, I could tell you so many stories about government waste and just how, I mean, it's embarrassing to believe that this is our government. You know what I mean? But our government is so crap and it's just,
Okay, so we'll go back to what the police officer.
Yeah. So basically, going back to the 5150 hold, psychiatric hold, I know he never called it in because there were no fire department or EMTs on the scene. There is no records that I have seen that would indicate that this person called in a 5150. And that would require, like an EMT or somebody to assess her and maybe restrainer. Because I honestly don't know what type of restraints they use in Nevada. They might just use handcuffs. I don't know. But like some fire departments in California, they use soft ties and they restrain her to the gurney. Right. And they put her in the ambulance so she doesn't hurt herself. They don't handcuff her like a criminal.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean?
For her own safety, really.
Yeah, exactly. Because you just don't know. So there's a way to do it without her. Because like you could hurt yourself in handcuffs, or they say metal restraints. but soft ties it's a really strong like nylon material that doesn't hurt. You could rub, and it's not going to leave like severe marks or anything. But anyway, so that would be the very first thing you have to assess. What did you do to de-escalate the situation? Because you don't know if this woman is like a quote-unquote Joker type character who knows a lot about explosives. She could have rigged the entire house. That's a possibility. It might be...
It's unlikely, but it is a possibility.
It might be unlikely, but you never know. You never know how crazy a person really is. So, so that would be the first step. What did he do to prevent any type of exigent circumstances from even existing? Did he even try? What was he doing with? Because there's something called looking for evidence of indicia. So if someone's being accused of stabbing somebody and you don't see the boy, what things should you look? What type of evidence should you look for?
The weapon.
Well, forget what if she hid the weapon. So one of the things that you look for would be, are her hands bloody? Are there blood on the doorknob or blood on the grass or blood in the hallways? Because if you're stabbing a boy, like according to this, stabbing would mean multiple stab wounds. And so if you're being stabbed multiple times, and trust me, I've been stabbed. Even when I got stabbed just once, it bled, and it bled a lot. Like there was blood all over the place when I got stabbed at work by my coworker. And trust me, when you're stabbed, you bleed a lot. So some of the evidence of indicia he should have been looking for before shooting somebody is blood. And if there's no blood, why the hell are you shooting? Seriously. And my goodness. So when you're looking for this type of evidence of indicia, you have to be very cognizant of the type of evidence you should expect. You might not see a murder weapon or a weapon. You might not, because, if she's stabbing somebody in another room, you got to look for, you can't expect to see a knife. You can't expect to see the bloody boy, but you can expect to see blood on her hands, her shoes, the carpet, or the hardwood floor. And I don't know if this cop even looked for that type of evidence.
So what does this have to do also with cops and making money and all that type of stuff? That's the other aspect, right?
Well, see, but that's okay. So that's the thing. Well, but that's how I would look at it because I'm really interested in to see if this cop really acted in self-defense, or was he just another cop who's suffering from PTSD because he did kill somebody. He
Mhm.
killed his lover because we don't know. Because I honestly believe police officers need to seek some type of 12-step faith-based counseling. No more of this crazy taking Prozac or
Yeah.
any or
Especially because
Ativan.
you're on the job too, and it's already high stress as it is.
Yeah, no, I'm not kidding you. I don't want to sound like Tom Cruise, but medication's bogus. I honestly believe we have to start honestly implementing Christ, like, and it has to be Christ. It can't be Muhammad. You know, it
Just
has to be Christ-based 12-step type of program so these cops can go through their PTSD.
right.
And I mean, it has to, because look, just from being recently saved, I know how hard it is dealing with being promiscuous and being violent.
Yeah.
It's hard and it eats.
It's a struggle even after you're saved, man.
Yeah, oh, yeah, that's like you have nightmares about crap like that, and then, well, I mean, even if it's like a daydream, like sometimes I'm just driving, and like I'll see crap, and you know what I mean, and it's like, you know what I mean, it's like, man, it sucks.
Yeah.
And but anyway, so I know, and if you don't have Christ, I guarantee you, it's 10 times harder. Maybe even 100 times harder, because it's hard to deal with things like that without it. Because now I know why 12-step is so successful. And it's not even that successful. It's only 38% successful, but other types of therapy, 1% successful or lower.
Yeah, it's a better method than just, medicating people with Prozac or antidepressants or
Or
whatnot.
anti-anxiety pills, because a lot of people are taking
It's funny, just a quick segue here. Did you know that antidepressants, the side effects for antidepressants is depression?
Yeah.
It's always the most ironic thing when you look at that, and it's just like, oh, the most ironic thing when it comes to antidepressants is actually depression itself.
No, but the thing is too, suicide is a side effect. That's literally one of the side effects is suicide.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, yeah.
Kind of defeats the purpose, huh? I guess it's just for them to make more money off of you, thinking it's like a vicious cycle. You keep taking the drugs, you keep doing all that funny stuff, and
no, but it's the truth. I honestly, man, I'm so against medications. It's not even funny. But because I know it doesn't work. But then at the same time,
I mean, cough medicine once in a while, that's fine. But I think for mental
but
health,
I mean, like psychiatric meds.
Yeah, psychiatric meds. I take NyQuil whenever I get sick.
Like I believe in antibiotics, anti-carcinogenics, antiviral pills. I believe in all of that. I just don't believe in antipsychotics.
Oh, God.
Anxiety pills. Come on. You're supposed to have anxiety. Seriously. You're supposed to feel anxious because think about it. Most competitors, like I used to run.
Oh, yeah. That feeling right before a race? It's like, dude, I can't sit in my own skin. This is horrible. But then you get over it. That's kind of the fuel.
No, but you focus that energy, those butterflies in your stomach, to run hard. You focus and channel that energy. All that energy you have, those butterflies, you could use that to help you run better. And that's the thing. Anxiety serves a purpose. Depression serves a purpose. There's a reason why we feel those things. Why? Because then we know something's wrong. Seriously.
Or uncomfortable if you're trying something.
Yeah, well, if you're depressed, that's a sign that something's wrong with your life, and you have to correct it. And as soon as you correct it, guess what? The depression's gone.
Sometimes it's as simple as taking a shower and going to the gym.
Well, but the thing is,
what I'm trying to say is it's all methods that I think get overlooked because we have.
Well, yeah, but that's why, those are all methods. But the thing is, those methods are meaningless if you don't understand the first commandment Jesus gave us. Seriously, because you got to love yourself, and if you
got to love God first. That's the first
love God as you would love yourself. Seriously, and if you don't know how to do that, then you will always be depressed. There is no way around it.
Right.
Seriously, there's literally no way around it. All the medications in the world will not take away that feeling that you have without love for God. Seriously.
Yeah.
If you don't or can't do that, then you are doomed forever. And that's just a reality. That's just from an expert who's worked in the psychiatric field forever. It's just how it works. And that's why we have to have special care for the mentally ill and the retarded, because they're retarded or mentally ill. So it's really hard for them to love themselves. And that's part of our job, is to help them love themselves. And they actually do become successful at it over time. But anyway, those are all tangents. But going back to this case, this person, we have to find out if he honestly made those assessments. And, most likely he did. And so there's like so many things. We covered like the first thing. We covered exigent circumstances, how they may or may not have existed, because we don't know if he did any proper assessments. But here's the other side, the flip side, because this is like in the mainstream media, what I'm saying is pro-liberal, like, oh, this is what the progressives always think. So here's the flip side, and this is why I'm very careful about taking these types of cases, because as we see in Oakland or in the Bay Area or Los Angeles, when a cop shoots somebody like Oscar Grant or whoever, they publicize this a lot. And look, sadly, this is a way to make a ton of money. And, people, they buy life insurance. Why? Because when you have life insurance, your spouse, your family is taken care of through your death. But unfortunately, in the Black community, instead of getting life insurance, a lot of gangsters and thugs, they'll participate in gang activity or criminal activity that will make a cop kill them. Right. And then guess what? Because, they're suffering from depression or some type of, Jesus, like, I got to come up with better terms, but, like, I don't want to say demonic possessions, but you know what I'm saying, right? For whatever these carnal reasons people engage in criminal activity, they engage in a roundabout way of suicide by cop to get money for their family. Because think about this. Gosh darn it. Because there's so many people but I don't. Oscar Grant. If we look at Oscar Grant, they made a movie about him. They got like a couple $1 million off of the BART police, Alameda County, whatever. So the question is this: how involved were the parents of Oscar Grant in Oscar Grant's life? He was a single dad. He didn't see his kid. He was kind of like a deadbeat father. He was. So how involved was the parents? Do the parents really need to profit off of this guy's death? And that happens to a lot of the parents of these people. They give the parents a lot of money. And obviously they should give the kids a lot of money because the kids are going to grow up without a dad. But at the same time, it should not be a way, because in Oscar Grant, that's a bad example, because he wasn't fighting with the police. He was fighting other people. You know what I mean? So, and in Oscar Grant, I think he deserved every dime he got, because he was already tied up. He was handcuffed to the floor and they shot him in the back of the head. But a lot of these dudes, they fight the cops. For what? You know what I mean? Like a lot of, because I don't want to give out names to people that we may or may not represent, but a lot of these dudes, we don't take a lot of cases because I know that these dudes are fighting cops because it's a way to get their family paid if they die. Because there is no way these dudes are going to make millions of dollars legally. They might do it illegally, but they will never make millions legally unless they get killed by a cop. And that's what I told the family. I was like, look, I am not going to take this case if you guys are not going to go to trial. We are not going to settle, because settlement just means you guys are in it for the money. We do this to get changes in the government. And I broke it down to him, I said, because the president has nothing to do this. This isn't Trump hating black people. This isn't the governor hating black people or minorities or anything like that. This is about how a city, mostly progressive cities, tell people who are police officers to violate our constitutional rights and literally kill people who have guns or who have, are suspected of having any type of arm in their home. And a knife is considered an arm. It's a weapon. A hammer is a weapon. So, and I said, look, I'm only interested in getting justice for people who are victims of real civil rights violations. And those are constitutional violations. And the police are all guilty of this because they do not uphold the oath that they take to the Constitution. They don't. They swear their allegiance not to, because seriously, the Constitution, to take an oath on the Constitution, in the word, like, the Constitution doesn't say the word God literally, but it does say about the nature, the law of nature, or the unalienable rights and all this stuff. And to be unalienable, that is another way of saying created by God, without using the word God. You know what I mean? That's why they say inalienable rights, because or as they quote unquote say, the laws of nature or whatever. That's just a really good way of saying God's law without sounding religious. And that's why you got to give credit to those guys, for doing this. But we have to focus on how these progressive cities are telling government agents to violate people who honestly believe in God, because we have the right to defend ourselves. We have the right to be strong, so that way nobody picks on us.
Right.
Seriously, that's the whole thing about the warrior spirit. We have that right to have that warrior spirit as men, and women have that same right too. It's not just unique to men. Women also can be warriors. If like if their husband passes away, or if they got an effeminate husband, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like your heart, like, look, a lot of good women fall in love with soy boys, and if that woman's trying to bring that soy boy to God, she has to do what she has to do. So she has every right as well to protect herself and to bear arms. And I'm pretty sure the Bible backs what I'm saying. So I just don't know any examples of women going to war and all this other stuff, or bearing arms. But the thing is, I'm pretty sure it's been done. But on that note, these progressive people very stealthily have been attacking the Second Amendment by saying that we post threats, by telling the police officers, guess what? If you feel threatened, just go ahead and kill them. Why? Because they have a weapon. And it's illegal to have weapons. It's illegal, even though it's not illegal, but progressives say it is. That's why they keep trying to regulate it. And by heavily regulating guns or even knives, because, to carry a knife, you just can't carry a knife in public. You can't. It has to be registered. So knowing that weapons are so highly regulated, these cops are in constant fear. And they should be in constant fear, because if somebody's telling you how everybody poses a danger to you, then hell yeah, I'm in constant fear. But that's what the politicians do. The mayors know this. They are so, I hate to keep saying the word demonically possessed, but because I know it's not demonically possessed, but they hate God so much, or they believe that they're gods so much, that they honestly believe that, like they want to destroy that warrior spirit. Like the whole Second Amendment is there to protect that warrior spirit in people naturally, who fight for, justice, and they know how to control their power, but they have it and they stockpile that power so they can get the word out. You know what I mean? Because that's how you get the word out. How do you get a better society? Well, when bullies can exist. If a bully can exist, well, then it's easy to get your work done. So.
Well, and that's the thing, is that you kind of need that. It's an equal and opposite reaction just to keep that going.
Yeah, but we're not saying, because a lot of people will take what I'm saying as, yeah, but you're telling us to kill government officials or to have guns so we can shoot people. It's like, no. When you have, like, it's having a gun or weapons is like having a sign that says home protected by ADP. It's the same thing, but everybody knows you can get around ADP real easy because you got a 1 minute window to snatch and grab. That's what they call it. You know what snatch and grab is, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of people don't know what snatch and grab means, but basically you just smash into the house. You got 1 minute to grab all the goodies and go. You can take a lot of crap in 1 minute. I guarantee you this. And now with police being so bogged down, you got 5 minutes now. Snatch and grab with ADP is now like a 5 minute window instead of the 1 minute window back in the 80s and the early 90s. So, but a gun, come on, there is no window for that. If somebody got a gun, you're gonna go to the next house. But on that statement, and that's all it is, being heavily armed, having a strong military deters bad action. It really does. As soon as Turkey knew we weren't going to fight, what happens? They invade Syria. Nobody wants to go up against the strongest army in the world, but if they know they're not going to fight back, fuck it, take advantage. And that's what criminals do. But when the people don't have the right to protect themselves from the criminal element or whatever, because cops are killing you in your house for quote unquote being armed, then we have problems. And that's why I'm taking this case. Because this is an attack on well, I don't want to say just Christians, but everybody in our society who pose a threat to the atheists who honestly believe that they're gods. The government has become an atheist entity who believe they are gods, and they need us to be without guns, without weapons, in order to maintain the control that they have over us. Think about that. That Texas case that we spoke about yesterday.
Yeah.
Are you effing kidding me? How is this humanly possible? Because we cannot fight back. We can't stop the government. We can't. How? They're going to kill you if you have a gun. The police will shoot to kill, and it's totally legal because they have exigent circumstances. The father is a soy boy who didn't just kidnap his kid and went to Wyoming and just worked underground for a few years to protect his kid. He didn't do any of that. Why? Because he's a real soy boy afraid of getting shot by the cops. Seriously, he won't fight back. And that's why our cops are trained to kill us if we have guns in our own house. If we have a gun in our house and we get shot, well, he had a gun. That's why I shot him. But, I forgot what city, but there was a woman who got shot in the window because the cops were looking. They were responding to some sort of theft. And the woman, she had a gun. And, she heard knocking, people looking with flashlights. So she took out her gun and, and when she pulled up the blinds to look through, the cops saw the gun and they shot her. But that cop is going to get arrested because, She had every right to have a gun. You know what I mean? Like, why in the hell did she shoot? But then that's the point. If she shot the cop, that's the cop's fault, because you knock on the door and you announce yourself. You just don't be, scaring people. She was, I don't want to say she was a little old lady, but come on, old women or women in general have a right to protect themselves if they're living all alone.
Right.
And so anyway, but, and that's the thing. So I'm hoping with this case that we're able to break down how much money these cops make, and how little because seriously, I believe we don't value our police officers, because we put them in dangerous situations where their lives are in danger every single day, because one, we don't require them to have a good education.
That's
two,
what I meant. Yeah, they're always never educated. But keep going. Yeah.
Yeah. Two, we don't have well, the first requirement was under education, but the second one was lack of training. We don't train them on anything. And this is going to be controversial, maybe not to the listeners, but for those listeners who are not Christians and believe that Christianity is some kind of joke or whatever, like we're all crazy people. But this is the truth. We have to start having some sort of faith-based training. It doesn't have, like, you don't have to pray or anything else. You can still have the principles of like, and like, we should have a litmus test. Mm-hmm. Like, instead of a psychological background, they should pass a background about loving yourself.
I think that's true, because here's the thing, right? A lot of the issues that come from cops overreacting and everything always seem to come back to the topic of mental health. Always. It's not even about situations. It's about mental health. I mean, hearing you talk about it, it's almost like, we could talk about education, being well armed, all of that, but the mental health aspect still needs to be addressed.
Yeah. No, and I'm going to say this, another controversial statement, but look, Muslims are effing crazy. They are. Like, because just like I believe Catholics are crazy. It's a cult. They pray to weird objects, so it's not just we're attacking Muslims, but look, like, Muslims can't be cops unless they can show they have the ability to love themselves while loving others.
Right.
You have to love your enemy. You have to. If you can't show that, you cannot be a cop. And it's going to be hard for a Muslim to say, oh, I love the Jew. Hell no. They'll probably, oh, no. You know what I mean? They're going to start crazy. But there has to be some sort of Christian-based psychological litmus test that these cops have to take. And that
is free of any kind of existing prejudice. That's the main thing.
Yeah, but that's what Christianity. No, I'm not kidding you. Christianity is unique in all religions of the world, because they have that. You gotta love your enemies. You cannot have prejudice. You can't have any pre-existing prejudices. You can't, or else you're not a Christian if you do. Mm-hmm. Just like how I think we've been really clear about, because look, we talk shit about everybody. Gays, dudes who fuck too much. You know what I mean? We talk shit about them all. But we are not judging them. We don't say this just to talk shit. We say this so we could help them, understand what I just recently discovered. You know what I mean? And that's what you've been trying to do. Mm-hmm. And that's how, so because I know a lot of people are like, God, you guys are so hateful.
No, actually, people agree. I mean, I haven't gotten that yet. Got to wait till we take it to video and people start calling like, what business do you have saying this stuff about Muslims and Jews? And,
No, but I'm not kidding you. Name any religion, and I mean any Hindu, any religion where they are supposed to not have prejudices against any people. Seriously, the Jews have, hella prejudices. They're taught to have prejudices. Same thing with Muslims. That's why they keep throwing rocks at each other. No, but it's the truth. I mean, like in certain parts of Israel, the Jews throw rocks at you too, but not as bad. You know what I mean? But it's still not against their faith. Like, it's against Christian faith to throw rocks at people. Seriously. Christians are told, hey, don't do it. When Peter chopped off that ear, like you told me, I guess it was also that guy's sermon. But hey, look, Jesus healed the eel and told him, hey, don't do it again. You know what I mean? Keep it in check. Right. And that's all, and that's what cops have to do. Cops have to have all the strength in the world, but they have to be able to holster that strength. And still, like, I don't want to say like cops need to pastor the citizens, but gosh darn, really close to that, because that's what cops are supposed to do. So going back to the beginning of the conversation, seriously, that's what they're doing. When you're assessing, they call it de-escalation techniques. That, for me, would be code for pasteurizing. I don't know if that's a proper word, but like preaching to somebody, like the way the judge did. The judge did her job in Texas for that one cop that killed that dude, and gave her the Bible. But that's what she did. She did her duty without using religion, but on her own free time, she said, hey, look, read this Bible, read this, read that, read this, read that. But every cop should be like that judge. And that's my whole point. I'm taking this case with a counselor. And this will be my final thoughts. Mm-hmm. So we can be hopefully like this judge who gave that Bible filled with passages.
Right.
Because I'm not kidding you. Like, I'm gonna like focus on Romans and have a lot of stuff in Romans. Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna use all of that for how we break down what cops should be saying to people, and how we did, like how I spoke about looking for evidence of indicia, like this and that. But this is what they should be saying. So we always offer solutions, because that's part of the settlement process. If we don't go to trial, our settlement process would be this. We want the city of Henderson to start implementing, training, and de-escalation techniques based on these principles. And I'll have like a whole list of things that cops should say, but it's going to be based on what Romans says.
Right.
You know what I mean? And what, just other parts of the Bible where it talks about, like what that Pastor Stephen Anderson said about holstering this and that. Like, seriously, like, this is our chance. This is every attorney's chance to make change in the system by demanding, as part of settlement, instead of asking for money, you could ask for changes instead. Changes don't cost a dime, but we're not going to settle. We will go to trial. If you guys don't change your policies and how you hire police officers, if you don't change how cops are trained, their education levels, we can make those agreements, and shit, the city will be like, because they're politicians, they'll be like, okay, we'll make these changes. We're going to make change the requirements from 21 to 25. And we're going to change the requirement to require them to have some sort of degree, like a 4-year degree plus training. And then they're going to have to pass a psychological examination approved by us, the plaintiffs. So, you know what I mean? And then that's how you make changes. That's how all attorneys can make these types of changes, but they don't, because they only settle for the money. It's all about the money. And it becomes an industry. A lot of attorneys who are civil rights attorneys, like, they're literally going to make a movie about this one attorney in Chicago. Mm-hmm. He's 59 years old. I forgot his name. Some black dude. But Jamie Foxx and the guy who played in Black Panther, the bad guy, warmonger. I forgot his name.
Michael B.
Yeah, Michael B. So he's playing the attorney, and so Michael B. Jordan, I think.
Jordan, that's it.
Yeah, Michael B. Jordan is playing the attorney. Just a civil rights attorney who's in it for the money. That's all they do. They never get changes, but they sue, and they get millions. And Jamie Foxx is playing the character that he represented, who was wrongfully imprisoned or something like that. And it's all about the money. They don't change the system. They just get money. It's an industry. This is how they make money. And they celebrate these people as civil rights leaders, but they're not. they're doing it for the money. They're not doing it for the changes. Because the one thing I did learn from Martin Luther King was he was correct in trying to get changes through God, using God as his, guide. But, he got sidetracked, with carnal lies.
No, of course. But those are good solutions, man. We do got to wrap this up because I got to call.
Yeah. Our hour's up.
No, I know. But I think let us know how the development of this case goes. And I certainly want to hear more about how you break down the solutions. And thank you guys for tuning in. And we'll see you all in the next episode.